If you're looking for a cool looking keyboard with what I personally think is the perfect form factor for both gaming and productivity, then this could just be the keyboard for you. Hi, what's up everybody? I'm Edward, and in today's video, I'll first share with you my first impressions of this keyboard as we go through the features of what's in the box, and then followed by my past 3 months experience with the yellow and green switches Razer Blackwidow V3 Mini Hyperspeed Phantom Edition Wireless 65% keyboard. Whew, that's a really long name to say in one go. Anyways, because the Phantom and Standard editions of the Blackwidow V3 Mini only differs in the keycaps, you can also opt for the Standard edition that is $20 cheaper. And as usual, I will leave timestamps for each section in the description below so you can skip to a particular section. So, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated when I upload new videos, and let's the details. For $200, you'll be getting just the Blackwidow V3 Mini along with a nicely braided USB-A to C cable that measures at 6.5 feet long. And of course, there's the usual user's manual and stickers, but despite the high price tag, there's no wrist rest here. Taking out the keyboard from the plastic, my first impression of this keyboard was how thick it looked. Don't. Which is emphasized by its small form factor and also probably me just coming from the low profile G915 TKL keyboard. The top plate of the keyboard is made of matte black aluminum, which adds to the sturdiness and build as there's no flex or bend whatsoever. The back housing is made of black plastic with a small compartment for storing your USB dongle, and like the Huntsman Mini, there are inscriptions for gamers by gamers engraved across, which is a nice finishing touch. The back plate joins with a translucent plastic at the front lip of the keyboard, just like the other V3 Blackwidows released before this keyboard. Though, on the Blackwidow V3 Mini 65% keyboard, the front lip now has a glossy finish this time around, which looks better than the textured finish, but is now more prone to scratches. But despite this concern, when I saw how clean and black these new Phantom keycaps looked, nothing else mattered. Gone are the usual laser-etched letters and symbols on the keycaps, leaving a very strange but satisfyingly clean and minimalistic feel. Though the white function layer legends printed on the side of the keycaps becomes extra visible when looking at the keyboard from the front, so it sort of ruins the Phantom look that Razer was aiming for, but it is necessary as this is a 65% keyboard. Oh, the irony. Anyways, the new Phantom keycaps feature a double-shot ABS top fixed to translucent sides on the bottom half of the keycap, making it look just like one of my favorite snacks. This design is so that the RGB will spill out more in addition to the clear switch housing, so that you do not need to sacrifice battery life by turning the RGB all the way to 100% brightness just to admire its beauty. Moving on to the other features of the Blackwidow V3 Mini, the most outstanding one is obviously its 65% small form factor. Measuring at 320mm wide by 129.5mm deep and 40.6mm tall, it is not much larger when compared to the Huntsman Mini, but offers 7 additional keys which include the arrow keys, which I could not live without. And like other more recent wireless peripherals from Razer, the Blackwidow Mini V3 uses their 1000Hz ultra-polling Hyperspeed wireless technology, which I've used almost every day for almost 2 years now, and never had any interference or disconnection issues. And this time around, like its bigger brother, the Blackwidow V3 Pro, you can also just use one dongle to connect both a wireless Razer keyboard and a mouse if it's supported. And because this keyboard is wireless, it can quickly connect and toggle between 4 devices, 1 over the 2.4 GHz band and 3 devices over Bluetooth. I personally find that this is very useful as I only need to keep one keyboard on the table for my 2 PCs and iPad. And of course, you can use the keyboard in wired mode, but in this mode, it will only work with the PC it is connected to no matter the switch position. The Blackwidow V3 Mini keyboard also features 5 onboard memory profiles that can store your macros and key bindings, which you can easily use on another computer without needing to install Synapse, and 7 default onboard RGB lighting effects that also do not rely on the Synapse software. So, having used the Blackwidow V3 Mini 65% keyboard for 3 months now, Other than the perfect size and functionality of the 65% form factor, there's nothing particularly new or exciting about this wireless keyboard. As this keyboard has almost identical features as the Blackwidow V3 Pro wireless keyboard that I reviewed a couple of months ago, which you can check out up here, I was a little disappointed that I had to pay $200 just to get a keyboard with less keys, the same old mechanical switches, and that I had to RMA my yellow switches 1 month in due to the switch failure. But other than that, you can choose between the yellow linears, or green clicky and tactile switches, for the Blackwidow V3 Mini keyboard. The yellows have a shorter 1.2mm actuation point and 45 grams of actuation force, which are excellent for gaming, but might feel a little bit mushy for typing for some people. And like on the Blackwidow V3 Pro I previously reviewed, they have sound dampeners added to make them even quieter when bottoming out. The greens, on the other hand, have a slightly longer actuation point at 1.9mm and require 50 grams of actuation force to actuate. They're also great for gaming, but if I were to recommend one, I would definitely recommend the green mechanical switches as they provide a slightly better overall typing experience. And if you really must get a linear switch, consider going for the optical linear reds like the Huntsman TE or Mini, as those switches are the best and fastest linear switches I've ever used for both gaming and work. Oh, and the optical switches are rated to last longer at 100 million key presses as opposed to the 80 million on these mechanical switches. But no matter which switch you choose, in terms of productivity tasks, this keyboard was perfectly fine for working with spreadsheets and Word documents compared to the 60% Huntsman Mini. The home and end keys have been moved down one row, making it easier to press together with the function key without looking at the keyboard. And the page up and page down keys are also conveniently located on the right side near the arrow keys. And when it comes to gaming, the extra mouse space available compared to using a full-size keyboard gave me a lot more room to move the mouse around freely when switching to low DPI on my mouse. And as this keyboard is wireless, I can easily position and reposition this keyboard anywhere without worrying about the cable being caught up in something. Though, every 5 to 7 days, I would still need to plug in the cable to charge it, which brings me to the advertised 200 hours of battery life. I mean, if I wanted 200 hours of battery life, I literally will not be able to use the Blackwidow V3 Mini with these Phantom Keycaps, because I cannot see the keys with the backlight turned off. But instead, at 45% RGB brightness, I was only able to get around 54 hours of total usage time. This is with daily on and off use with the Blackwidow V3 Mini over the 2.4 GHz connection with some continuous gaming in the evening. But luckily, the keyboard charges back up pretty fast and could charge back up even faster when using a direct power source. Though, I would recommend against using an external power source to charge the Blackwidow V3 Mini because from my experience, the keyboard will experience a 2 to 5 seconds delay when waking the keyboard up from sleep. But overall, I'm glad that Razer has decided to add the 65% form factor to their keyboard lineup with the Blackwidow V3 Mini Hyperspeed Phantom Edition wireless 65% keyboard. With gaming grade wireless performance, ready to use out of the box, and a heavy price tag, I will recommend getting this when it's on a discount if getting a small form factor keyboard is not a top priority for you. So yeah, that's my review of the Blackwidow V3 Mini. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and thank you guys as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button as it will greatly help the growth of this channel, and I'll see you again in the next episode.